Hello, you. How's it going, everybody? Another Wednesday. That means another Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast here on iTunes and Stitcher. Recording this live on a hump day. On Wednesdays, that's usually our recording sessions. And first off, I want to thank everybody who's been checking out the show recently. We've been getting a lot of buzz recently, but more importantly, we need to get our name out there. I think me and Adam are bringing something different to the table in this talk game in wrestling, whatever you want to call it, expert, yeah. But I really feel like we have something working here. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback from these shows over the last couple of weeks, and that's thanks to all you guys that have been supporting the show. But more importantly, if you guys are on iTunes or you guys get your podcast from iTunes or Stitcher, leave a comment or review or anything. It helps out a little bit. I'm not expecting us to be the number one podcast by next week or anything, but just spreading the word around really helps us out in those iTunes charts and stuff. Anyways, I am Josh Lopez. You can follow me on Twitter at WC Josh Lopez. I'm here alongside the good brother, Mr. Daley. How's it going, man?
Josh, what's going on, brother? First and foremost, everybody, hope you enjoyed Extreme Rules weekend. But I want to give a special shout out to my cousin Justin. LJ, happy birthday, my man. Celebrate. Good luck with everything poker-wise. My man is a pro. Been to a World Series of Poker a couple times. So big shout out to my cousin. Anyone that's reading Justice League 50 today, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there is an interesting Joker twist in it.
Yes. There's a lot of twists, and boy, do we have a lot of stuff to get into today. I was talking with Adam before he came on air. You guys don't realize how fast these shows go by when me and him are just recording. I don't know how it is for you guys while you're watching with us live, but man, sometimes we go 2 hours, sometimes we go an hour and a half, and it feels like it's like 45 minutes. Hey, I guess it's a good thing though. Like when you're talking to somebody that you're good friends with, you consider a brother. It's like sitting right next to Adam at his house talking about wrestling. That's kind of the point of what we do here. I'm not, especially today, I'm not holding anything back. And you know what? This has had nothing about me getting blacklisted because a lot of my rants today have nothing to do with what's going on inside the ring, actually. There's actually a lot of good stuff inside the ring that we're going to get into today. Yes, I'll talk about Cody Rhodes because everybody in the son and their mother has had the opportunity to talk about Cody Rhodes. I'll give my soliloquy about it, then we'll move on from there. We'll talk about the big news that happened this morning. Depending when you guys are listening to this, about SmackDown moving to Tuesday nights, a draft coming up soon, brand split, something me and Adam have been talking about for the last 7 months. So yeah, I have a lot of rants towards the end of the show today. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm just gonna say this: if you're gonna be that blind of a sheep to let somebody dictate how you feel about wrestling, you're a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. It's just that simple. So that's a little teaser for what's on later on today. But before we go to Cody Rhodes, Mr. Daley, Ed, have you got to see the season finale of Edge and Christian? And if so, what was your thoughts on it?
I did not get to see the finale yet.
Oh man,
I've been a little busy, but I have not. I know that it looked like they were about to have a duel with the New Day potentially. It looked like maybe some back and forth going. Now, big question for me, Josh: does it look like there's going to be a season 2?
I hope so, man. The good content is good content for the network, and I'm sure Edge and Christian is probably the most viewed stuff on the network. I would not be surprised if Edge and Christian is viewed more than NXT, the weekly TV shows. I would not be surprised by that. This was recent viewership press conferences they've been having recently. The past couple months shows that. So I hope so. It's hilarious. I always remember when Christian was dressed up like Vince at the podium having a press conference, and there's a fan wearing a Jay Lethal shirt saying, "So what happens when Jay Lethal comes here? Are you guys gonna bury him because he came for Ring of Honor?" Like something like that. Oh man.
I love when they play Will WWE talk about it.
Yes.
That's why and I know obviously it gets cleared and and they have a writing staff and they contribute and everything. But I just, in my mind, I'd like to think that Vince has no idea what's even said on the show. And I know I've said it a couple times, it just adds to the show for me because there's a lot of things, guys, that, let's face it, we didn't think that they would ever address. Hell, they let Edge, and I don't want to say let because who knows what the thing is, but typically they wouldn't let Edge wear his Pro Wrestling Tees shirts in every episode because it's
Sexton Hardcastle.
All the Sexton Hardcastle stuff. Yeah. So I like that they're letting them, because it really is for the fans. Like, no reason to pull the wool over anyone's eyes with a show like that, especially when it's more adult themed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I love when Christian was like dressing up like all like the big internet darlings t-shirts. Like he was going through like a rabbit. Like he was like, Kevin Owens, I'm your biggest fan, Kevin. You're never wrong.
I gotta admit, I really love the bit they did with the dating website.
Yes.
I am good friends with the guys that run Tag Me a Date. Great guys. Steve and Eric are fantastic, like fantastic guys. So I spoke with Eric recently about it, like, just that, maybe it was like kind of a rub on their website and stuff like that. And he loved it. I mean, to me, it was funny. And it was funny that they wrote like that they were listing like all the wrestling couples,
Speaking of Eric, I want to give him a shout because he gave a shout out for this show about a few weeks ago. So I'm going to give a shout out to Eric. He's a really cool guy.
Brother. Yes, synergy. I love synergy.
Tagmeadate.com. That's where you go. Go from little funny, positive stuff to a unfortunate story. I'm not mad. I'm not ticked off. I'm not pissed off about the story. I actually kind of expected this to come, to be honest with you, Adam, with Cody Rhodes leaving the company. Actually, everybody's, if you've been living under a rock over the last week, Cody Rhodes asked for his release last week. He was granted on it about a few hours before Extreme Rules went on air this past Sunday. And I don't need to go into the full statement or whatever. You guys can go to his Twitter account, PrinceCGR, to figure it out for yourself. But from my point of view, it's unfortunate. That's the way I take away from this whole thing. It's just unfortunate. A guy like him would have to take his artistic talent somewhere because I thought he had something working for him. And the Stardust thing, it didn't work. I'm not going to be naive or say, oh, it was great. Oh, Stardust embracing his brother. Oh, this is best for business for him. You could tell by his face whenever he came on TV. It's like, oh, okay, here we go. I'm on TV, but this doesn't mean anything to me right now. I remember a bunch of times going to events and seeing Stardust, and he's like, just there. It's like there was no like drive or fire in him, and that sucks. Obviously, I saw the statement about the creative team and how one of the guy hits on developmental chicks.
Is that the same guy that's marrying the Bella's mom, or is that somebody different?
Yes. I mean, but is that different from any other environment you work at, though? I mean,
no. When it's an old boys club like that, no, and it's still unfortunately the old boys club. It's corporations all over the place, and if you try and say something, you get ratted out, and HR goes and fires you, not the person that was doing it.
Yeah.
So it's just like any other workplace, and I'm not saying that's good. It's absolutely terrible, but unfortunately, that's everywhere.
Yeah. And it's real life too. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's wrestling, music, sports, cellular places. Adam, you know very well that business very well.
Mm-hmm.
So it sucks, man. I mean, I had this conversation with you last night on the phone about kind of a new shift of direction of I don't know, necessity and not a necessity as far as the old SCW guys or OVW guys, whatever you want to call it, to today's NXT class. Now, hear me out. I love the NXT takeover specials. I think the TV show is hit and miss. I don't think people actually watch these NXT weekly shows. And I get it. People are busy. They don't have the time to check it out. But I feel like it's kind of insulting to the fans' intelligence, especially if you're the hardcore fan that's everything NXT. But if you're saying NXT takeovers are the greatest thing of all time and you're not watching these shows beforehand, I feel like you're doing yourself a disservice. Either way, I go back to NXT. While I love what they're doing right now, it's kind of interesting how Triple H has changed his direction and everything towards the NXT guys now, as opposed to the guys that were still in SCW and OVW. And you see more of these guys like Sandow go away. Ryback is soon to be out anytime soon. I wouldn't be surprised if Heath Slater or some of these other guys from the old SCW days are going to be out soon. So, I mean, what's the necessity now? Is it the new NXT guys, Adam, or can you find a fine balance with both eras? Because I don't know. I saw a tweet from Justin LeBar this morning saying that quicker and quicker, week by week, Triple H is exiting out the Johnny Ace era of the WWE.
You know what? And I think, listen, LeBar's a good wrestling head. Let's face it, guys. And I know he's so polarizing. People love him, hate him, whatever. But the dude knows what he's talking about, guys. Please pay attention to Justin LeBar. And Josh, to your point, I think we can see that. I do think we can see that. I think that we're starting to see. But if we put it in the context, now that NXT guys really have been around, I mean, if we're including, say, like NXT season 1 with Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, if we chose to, we're looking at these NXT talents now have been going on for 6 years. Yeah. So really, if we're talking FCW guys and especially OVW guys, we're talking that's early, mid 2000s into the late 2000s. I think absolutely we're seeing more NXT talent being pushed, but I also think we're right now in the middle of a generational flip. So I think that we're going to see more of, your Dolph Ziggler's kind of start to go away, Damian Sandow go away, Cody Rhodes. But I think that in a way, this was going to happen regardless. I think that it's easy to perceive it as, well, Triple H is kind of pushing his boys ahead. Perception isn't always reality, though. I do think that this is more again, like we always say, timing is everything. And I think it's very happenstance that a lot of these NXT guys are becoming men and women are becoming stars and superstars in a time when, listen, guys, if we're talking OVW, this is like John Cena was OVW. He was a 2002 OVW graduate. They haven't really messed with OVW since 05, 06, somewhere around there. So, these are tenured men and women guys that probably wouldn't have been there for too long. And Josh, but do you think it's more of a political power play move by Triple H, or do you think it's just a sign of the times?
I think it's a mixture of both, to be honest with you. I think at the same time, I think perception is what you make out of it. I don't think it's perception of reality. I think it's perception of what you make out of it. We can perceive that, WWE can do this because, that's how WWE logic, how everybody brings up WWE logic all the time. But I think this year more than ever, they've kind of flipped the table on that mindset. Mm-hmm. The Global Cruiserweight Series, the events of stuff that happened before WrestleMania, AJ Styles. I could go on and on with all the different stuff just from WWE alone of what they've been doing and changing the perception of what the company is. So, you can say perception is reality, but I could say that you need to get out of the bubble. And I'm going to be talking about that later on in my rants later on today, because a lot of you guys need to get out of the old bubble. It's time to evolve, people. I'm sorry to say this. And going back to the point of the power struggle, I would not be surprised in the next 2 to 3 years. Okay, you took one cancer out of the situation. Johnny Ace is no longer the talent relations guy.
Funk man.
They're taking out clutter, with the exception of Cody Rhodes. I'm saying there's other guys I wish they're still on the roster, but in a way, you need to get rid of clutter. If there's guys that you're just gonna have on superstars and live events, they're not a necessity anymore. I'm surprised that Jack Swagger is still there now. So, who knows who's next in these clutter releases?
Listen,
but
Swagger is there because he's there to make sure everybody just chills out and has a good time. I'm talking about. No, I like Jack Swagger. Yeah. One thing I'll say, Josh, about Cody is that I do feel, and this is my own personal thing. It's a personal opinion, guys. So feel free to shoot on me for this, but I do think that Cody got held back his entire career because of his last name. I do think, and this is where I'm going to get a lot of heat, and I'm not saying Triple H. I'm saying that from Vince, and this is just old school Vince, really didn't – he used the Rhodes family, but never respected the Rhodes family. And I think a lot of people that have ever run a business or have ever been in charge of people understand what I'm saying. I don't think that there was any respect with him and anybody. Now, Triple H, absolutely. I think Triple H respected the Rhodes family. But at the end of the day, I don't think that Vince did. And I think that Cody never really – I think Cody should have been a world champion. I absolutely thought Cody should. This one, I'll admit, this one kind of upset me a little bit because on his way out, I'm glad that he's going to be happy again.
Yeah.
But it's a shame with the lineage that he has, with the legacy that he has, quote unquote, see what I did there, that he really could have been a superstar. I wish they would have at least given him the opportunity to run with at least the Money in the Bank briefcase or the championship, something, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it's not only Vince though, because like I was going to say, I think one way or another, Triple H is definitely will find a way to get Kevin Dunn out of the company.
Yeah.
That's when the full new era finally comes complete because, hey, you just said Vince is not a fan of the Rhodes family. Well, you got your executive producer who's not a fan of anything wrestling that's not WWE, right? So are you surprised by that? The guy that has his ear and the guy that CM Punk says right-hand man, everybody assumed it was just Johnny Ace. No, it's Kevin Dunn. And it's right in front of your eyes.
Everyone's always like, well, Dunn doesn't have that much power. Look at all the titles that this dude has underneath on his resume. Like, not only
it's pure and other bullshit. You can't say the guy has no power in creative when you're the executive producer of the fucking TV show. Come on.
You know, everybody has that like that good angel and the bad angel, you know, and it's really like, yeah, it's like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, except it's Jason Mewes and people on each side, and they're both going, nah, go get her. It's like Kevin Dunn going, no, he won't be a star. But that's what blows me away, though. In a way, yeah, I get it. It's the Rhodes family. Dusty Rhodes made his living in WCW. I mean, and they let's face it, they treated him like a joke in WWE whenever Dusty wrestled there. The gimmick he had with Sapphire and the $1 Million Man purchasing Sapphire basically away from it. Everything was so, but still Dusty did it with a smile on his face, did his job like a man, and went back to WCW. It's just one of those where I do feel that and and I spoke about this on Monday, and then I just feel that there's people within WWE, not the younger generation, but the older generation, that want to make sure that everybody knows that the McMahons are wrestling. Damn it. It's not the Harts. It's not the Flairs. It's not the Rhodes. It's the goddamn McMahons. And I feel like that's kind of like events. And yeah, absolutely. It's a done thing.
One last thing on the Cody thing before we move on. Any favorite match or angle from Cody before we move on?
Dude, I have so many favorite Cody Rhodes moments. His WrestleMania 27 match I thought was fantastic. And I loved his grotesque gimmick. I loved the dashing Cody Rhodes gimmick. Rhodes Scholars when he had the creepy mustache and still made it work. Stardust, he made work. Every gimmick, and he said it perfectly. He was the master of turning chicken shit into chicken salad. They gave him some of the worst gimmicks ever, and he made it so that grotesque Cody Rhodes might have been my favorite Cody Rhodes, where he's wearing a see-through mask. There's nothing wrong with him, and he's like, I don't know. I thought he was a superb talent. I thought he was super athletic, highly entertaining. He was great in the ring. I don't get it. I don't get it. Other than the last name.
I just think it was just time for him to move on. I mean, every member of the Rhodes family has moved on from the WWE and done something outside. I mean, it's just that time. I mean, it's not like the guy is 35 and his career is going to end. I mean, he's barely turning 30 in a couple of months. So I hope him the best. I'll say this for me. My favorite gimmick for Cody Rhodes, going back to the grotesque thing, was when he was handing out paper bags and stuff to the crowd. That was my favorite Cody Rhodes. But my favorite Cody Rhodes match would have to be, there's two of them actually. There's one that's very underrated. It's one he had with Christian a couple years ago for the IC title, and then the other one was the Rey Mysterio WrestleMania match, because I thought that fell under the shuffle because everybody was so upset about the Miz and John Cena main eventing WrestleMania that year. But he had that WrestleMania is probably trash in the long-term thing in the bigger picture, but I thought there's some good stuff in between that gets overlooked for that Mania.
Yeah, listen, WrestleMania 27, I thought the mid-card matches were phenomenal. Like, someone that was there, I thought Punk Orton was great. Mysterio Cody Rhodes was really, really good. You know, I'm one of the people that, listen, being there live, maybe it was just where we were sitting, which we're going to end up talking about later on. But, you know, we don't typically try to get, like, the closest seats or anything because we're on cosplay and we like to stay in the shadows and stuff. So, you know, it's – I guess I look back at the Money in the Bank match where Cody Rhodes almost had the briefcase and then Sandow knocked him off. And the crowd pop when Rhodes was about to grab that briefcase, to me, says that that was a ginormous lost opportunity. I mean, that was a chance that the crowd was ready. People were ready. And they could have put the title on him at that time. And that could have changed the entire direction of Cody Rhodes' career. But again, I think that there was always a roadblock in front of him that he was never going to be able to get through, so to speak. And that was not anything of his. I love Cody Rhodes, and I can't wait to see what is next for him because he's so entertaining. I mean, I wish we could, like I keep making a joke. I wish we could rent him for my daughter's birthday in December. Just because he's so funny, man. It'd be funny.
You know, I just feel like, to like wrap this in a bubble, I feel like it's just bad timing. This whole thing. I mean, it's just unfortunate. You just fell into bad timing because there's always there was always one part of the roster that always got more attention, and it's just something that you can never get past that hump. So we wish Cody the best, and we want to wish Eden the best as well. She got her release yesterday during the SmackDown tapings as well. So best luck to both of you. Let's go into the news that came out this morning. We teased it at the beginning of the show, but everybody's talking about it. Everybody's like, oh my god. But the big news is SmackDown is back on the USA Network starting July 19th. It's the week of Battleground. Or it's the week after Battleground. I'm not sure when Battleground is anymore. I don't know what date it is, but it's somewhere in between July, heading towards the road to SummerSlam. And they said there's a draft coming up soon. There's the press release said that it was distinctive storylines, writers for the specific show, and new rosters as well. So, yeah, I'll say this as a guy who's been covering SmackDown for the last year and a half or so for multiple wrestling websites. I could be more excited about this. It helps out my schedule. It helps me not have a brain aneurysm covering TNA Impact Wrestling every Tuesday nights while I have to watch Willow, the North Carolina imposter, grace my TV screen. I'll talk about that later on, but but yeah, I continue to say that SmackDown is probably the most underrated show in the wrestling business today. I'm not saying underappreciated. Yeah, I get it. Spoilers are out there. People are going to do what they're going to do. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that goes over people's head when it comes to storylines, and we talked about this on the show, is on the stuff that happens on SmackDown. Like, you get those loose ends. When you have questions about what happens on Raw, it's not like the week's over. SmackDown brings back those answers. So I'm excited for this. Mauro Ranallo on live TV instead of being taped. It's really freaking cool. But Adam, what was your thoughts on the news this morning?
I love the idea. One, because and everyone knows that I pick out the positives. I don't shred Raw like a lot of people do. I do enjoy Raw on a weekly basis. But I will say that I actually enjoy SmackDown more. Number one, absolutely, Mauro Ranallo he makes that show. You get a lot more engaged when you're listening to that man speak, and it's not just because of the way he's calling a match. It's all the little nuances that he does. He makes it fun again to listen to a wrestling broadcast. You know, there's little bickering here and there, but he really kind of wraps everything together. He's always tying up a lot of loose ends. I think he's a hell of a guy, and I do. And with May being Mental Health Awareness Month, all the good work that he's been doing with that, I have the utmost respect for Mauro, for his work, for the person that he is. So I think that he's a big reason why SmackDown's going to be good. And here's another thing, Josh. What'll be interesting is when they do the brand split, typically if SmackDown was live on a Tuesday, then we would be saying, okay, we'll have a live show Monday and Tuesday we'll kind of like tie up a lot of loose ends. But now with a brand split, specific talent on Raw, specific talent on SmackDown. So, you'll end up having a favorite show depending on what talent is on what show. I think that they'll probably try to cater each show towards a certain demographic. But B, I think the other nice thing about it is Monday Night Raw is still going to mean something, because it's not like, okay, well, then we'll just have to find out what happens on SmackDown. Because typically if we have a pay-per-view, everyone's big complaint is, well, it's Sunday Night Raw. No, it isn't. In aesthetically, it is because it's 3 hours and because it has the same stage setup. But when you think about it, it's another chapter. They're typically segue chapters. So yeah, unless it's one of the big four, it's going to be more of a bridge pay-per-view than anything else. But we always end up finding some sort of conclusion on Monday night, and I think that's what people haven't caught on to. Josh, something me and you have talked about so much. It's the new way that they're doing things, that they're leaving a lot of cliffhangers on pay-per-views, aka Seth Rollins coming back and landing the most beautiful pedigree I've seen in a very long time. Seth Rollins, Mark, so that's why I'm saying that. But so now, okay, so he goes over to Monday night, but what if he was a SmackDown talent, So now we got to wait till Tuesday to find out. It's still live. There's no way to spoil it. I like the idea because I do think that you're going to have people. Now it is going to force Raw. I was a big fan when they did this in the early 2000s because I thought the SmackDown 6 made SmackDown the show. Paul Heyman and SmackDown 6 had it so that when we would, this is when I was in my party phase, but we would go to bars and we would make the bar put SmackDown on because there was no way we were missing SmackDown, and we're talking Brock Lesnar 60-minute Iron Man matches, like things like that they were constantly putting on SmackDown TV in a 2-hour show. I think it's going to be easier for a lot of fans to digest 2 hours versus 3 hours. And on Tuesdays, there's less competition, especially in the fall when Monday Night Football comes back, things like that. So I think this is a great move on WWE's part to get people invested in SmackDown again, and for all the undercard talent that's kind of – so we don't run into problems like this, like Cody Rhodes not being on TV. You know what I mean? So we don't run into problems like, oh, well, we don't have anything for you right now. No, now you do, because you have 2 separate shows, 2 separate rosters. They don't have to – we'll talk about the championships, I'm sure. But, even if they don't bring back a second championship or whatever, you have 2 separate shows for people. So you might have people now not watch Raw but watch SmackDown. Do you think that would be a concern, Josh?
I think your last point stole the words out of my mouth because – look, we don't have to get in a bitching and fitting contest over, oh, this guy is in filler matches. Oh, he could be in storylines. More of the divisions can have more depth to their storylines on SmackDown now. This also helps out Raw in a way because, I bring up the Michael Cole interviews a lot on the WWE.coms on the show because that really helps out character development. You know what that does for Raw? That gives that a platform to do that stuff on Raw. So you don't need 9 or 10 matches just to fill time now. You could change what Raw is in a way these days. And I feel like the splitting the roster is best for everybody. You could ask anybody on that current roster right now. By the way, for those who don't know, I'm not a big fan of using the term main roster. Oh, this guy's coming up to the main roster. How's he going to do on the main roster? It's just the Raw and SmackDown roster, please. I mean, look, I respect NXT. They deserve as much credit as Raw and SmackDown. So to say, oh, it's just the main roster, I think that's condescending. By the way, if you guys have any comments or questions about the SmackDown brand split and stuff, leave in the comments section below. We'll try to answer any of your guys' thoughts or soliloquies. We'll try to bring it up here on the show. But going back to this, I love it. I could be more happier about this. Now, here's the thing. I mean, I guess you could have the drama of Stephanie and Shane on Raw going on still, but do you need somebody else to run SmackDown? And I know everybody's big question is, would you have somebody like Paul Heyman or somebody outside of the company to run SmackDown?
Can we bring Teddy Long back just so we have 18 tag team matches? No, is that too soon for Teddy Long jokes?
Tag team tournament?
SmackDown, you're home for tag team turmoil. You know what? I do think that there needs to be an authority figure on both shows. I think that was important when they had the brand split before. Hell, I actually think it's important now. I know people don't like the authority, but I do like the idea of it. I think each show, it's important to have an authority figure on both shows. You need that, because whether they're a good guy or a bad guy, or a good girl or a bad girl, because Vicky Guerrero, Monster Heat, Monster Hill. I don't even know that. Listen, Vicky just was organic heat. As my dog is just, let me get my dog an ice cube here. My God, as I just throw stuff down, that's just breaking fourth wall here, people. So I do think that they need somebody, and whether it ends up that Shane runs one, Steph runs one, after everything falls apart in their relationship, or, I don't know. I think this leaves so many open doors for us to fantasy book, and this is the brilliance of it, right? I mean, isn't this where we're supposed to have fun with it?
Exactly. And more questions than you have answers. By the way, oh, you guys are hacking me. I came up with this months and months ago. Look at me. I'm the Nostradamus of wrestling talk. Oh, I knew a brand split was coming. I mean, do you have to be that insecure for yourself to glow on air, Taz, that, oh, you're the only person that came up with the brand split idea? And that you're going to only judge your mindset of that theory on your product just because it doesn't happen yet? Come on, bro.
Well, it's funny because I have a hell of a lot of respect for Taz, and I want to say
I do too.
No, I know you do, but yeah, and especially because I remember going back to old ECWs at the CCBC Golden Dome. I know I talk about it a lot, but if anybody ever remembers those days, those were the ECW days, man. But the thing is that, listen, not everybody has a show. Not everybody has a podcast. We're fortunate that we do video. We're fortunate that people tune into us, but it's the stuff that a lot of people talk about, and it's easy to go on and say, I was the first, but not really, I mean, how long people have been talking about a brand split since they put the titles back together.
Exactly.
Let's split it up. It needs a brand split. There's two. I mean, this is talk that's been rumbling with fans that, okay, so maybe they don't have a TV show, but this is something people have been campaigning for. Some, not all, fans have been saying, I wish there was a brand split again. I wish there was a brand split again. And it seems like people are 50-50 about it. But and I hope I don't, again, I'm blacklisted from so many places, who cares? But I just don't see, we live in a bravado society where everybody wants to beat their own chest all the time. And that's fine. It's cool. But not everybody is always the originator of this idea or that idea. I mean, if you came up with the idea, like, okay, I had a pretty good weekend when it comes to predictions with WWE. The Dana Brooke thing, Rick getting kicked to the curb, Rollins coming back. I mean, I was pretty dead on with a lot of my picks and, just how it was going to go down. But I wasn't the only one that was saying that stuff, guys. I'm sure. I don't watch other video shows because I don't, or podcasts or whatever, just because I don't want people to think that I'm plagiarizing. But if little old me in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania can figure this stuff out, absolutely people that have been in the business are going to be able to figure this out. So it's not, I don't see where this fake bravado is. It doesn't make us better than anybody. It's just we fortunately have a platform where we can talk about it. Yeah,
and I not to toot our horns or anything, but I don't need to be insecure or feel like I have to say every show, oh, we're the best show on the internet. We're the best wrestling talk show in the world. I mean, come on.
So many good shows out there. And it kills me, and Josh, just real quick, it kills me when people when we do wrestling with, and everyone's like, well, they do this on this show and they blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go. And it's like, listen, we want everybody to succeed. Like, I love what the New Age Outsiders or New Age Insiders are doing right now. Like, I love what they're doing. We support everyone with Manzo and his crew. You know what I mean? Manzo, Doug O'Mac, Alba, them guys. Everybody back at CSR where Sam used to be at. Everybody down at, at Wrestling Rumors where we're still at. Like, like Bruce, listen to everybody. Like we had somebody earlier this week, like, oh, please don't think that I was being like, that I was being a turncoat. And it's like, no, please watch as much wrestling as possible. It's great for us as fans, I just don't, because one, I have a kid. So, she takes up a lot of my time. And number two, I don't like you said earlier, too many people now, and this is with everything. This is with everything in society right now. This isn't just wrestling. This isn't just entertainment. This is even just morality anymore. And like people's morals. We don't even know our own morals. We have to go to somebody else and see what the popular idea is. And because I enjoy wrestling so much, I like to kind of figure it out myself. That's honestly the only reason why I don't read dirt sheets anymore. I don't watch or listen to anybody else's show. I know that sounds like a really prick thing to say, but it's because I love the business and I like to kind of create my own things. And if I end up being right, okay, cool. Then it's like, hell yeah, that's the payoff I wanted. And if I'm wrong, oh, well, no big deal. It's like, oh man, they got me on that one. I don't get this irateness that everybody else gets, I guess.
Yeah, my thing is like, just because you got your theory wrong doesn't mean the company did the wrong thing. It's subjective. I mean, how many times have we talked on the show that there's no right or wrong answer? And like you, I do my play-by-play articles, but I don't read dirt sheets. I have people send me stuff and they're like, oh, did he hear about this? Oh, did he hear about that? I'm like, did you get some fact checking? Is this an actual story? Because I'm not going to waste my time looking at it. Oh my God, breaking news. Backstage heat between Paige and Charlotte because Del Rio was hooking up with Charlotte before he got with Paige. I don't care about that shit. I don't. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This wrestling news should not be TMZ. That's not real journalism.
And that's the problem, is that everything is becoming TMZ. Listen, ESPN became TMZ a long, long time ago. And I know I always keep bringing this up, but when they put poor Rachel Nichols on Brett Favre's porch, probably get a whole bunch of dick pics sent her way. Oh, sorry, wrong city for that, huh?
Yeah.
So but everything has become TMZ. It's about everyone's personal lives, and it's because this is what. And Josh, let me get your opinion on this. We had a story break this week where the woman in the Chewbaca mask, it was virally, it caught wind. Great news story. I've watched that video and all of her videos now like a million times, and I can't stop laughing every time I watch it. It's a feel-good story. The chick was just a Star Wars fan, was like, listen, I got kids, but this is my toy. Like, and you have people going, well, why is she getting famous? Well, I don't understand why people are showing her. Wait a minute. So we complain that all we talk about is gossip and bad news and people that are, and we just want to talk about miserable stuff. So we have such a feel-good story out there because she's just a Star Wars fan. Now she's getting to meet J.J. Abrams. It's like so much cool stuff's going on, and people are complaining. So can we all just admit that everybody that watches TV, you live for misery? Because when we have good stories, good heartwarming stories, whether it's in wrestling, outside of wrestling, in your own family, outside of your family, it doesn't matter where.
Yeah.
You don't want these heartwarming stories. You want the miserable stories so that you can complain. We live in a complaining society, and we don't have to look any further than our own politicians and people that are going to be running this country. And I'm not getting political about that, guys. I'm saying if we're our leaders, we're going to do as our leaders do, and let's look at what our quote unquote leaders are doing. And it's trickling down into the common man who, now that we're divided, it's done. But everything's TMZ, Josh. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that I don't care about ADR and Paige and Charlotte or whatever the hell all that's going on. Is it somewhat amusing? Yeah, I guess, just because it's whatever. But I wish I never seen any of that stuff, It's just, am I going to make a quick little joke? Well, yeah, it's kind of what I do. But but I leave it at that because it's none of my business. It's none of any of our businesses, It's just something to talk about because people like to talk about gossip more than they like to talk about news or anything that's fun or heartwarming.
Yeah, I told you about this last night. Like, finally, I found some normalcy or decency in this society where a chick is having the time of her life. She's like, yeah, I bought a Chewbaca mask and I'm damn proud of it. This is for me. I'm gonna laugh about it, and I'll give a fuck if you get upset about it or not. And everybody's got their high horse. Oh, why is she on Good Morning America? Why is she getting these gifts? Why is she doing the video with J.J. Abrams? I'd rather see something like this than have my news plastered in front of my eyes seeing a girl getting super raped at a high school, or an 81-year-old grandmother getting shot to death in the south side of Chicago on the day of her own daughter's fucking funeral. So what's more important?
And I look at it this way too. It was probably a little less than a year ago that a woman named Kim Davis refused to marry a gay couple, where by law she had to marry this gay couple. And this woman ends up getting a couple $100,000. She gets flown all over the place by politicians and stuff like that to basically, and if you say it's not hate, it's hate. If you're hiding behind the Bible saying, no, stop it. You're hiding behind the Bible because you know it's hate. So my point is that we made this Kim Davis chick, and I don't use this term very often, but we made this Kim Davis bitch a celebrity just because of her hateful manner. But we have this young woman that's having the time of her life with a Chewbaca mask. That's absolutely like, and when she laughs, it's so contagious. Like you can't help but laugh yourself. And like, I'm in tears laughing because she's in tears laughing because what, and now all of a sudden Sam's laughing, Amber's laughing. We're all laughing at this, and we're laughing with her, not at her. It's wonderful. But we still find ways to pick it apart. I don't get it, Josh. This is for me.
I'm just done with everybody having to have their head up their ass. Look, yeah. I get it. The countries went through a rough time after 9/11. I understand that. Trust me, I know personally about that stuff about 9/11. I don't need to get into that stuff, but I mean, come on, it's time to move on. I mean, if you're going to just make an excuse, we need to question everything. We need to have our head up our ass over what happened in 9/11 and the whole war shit. You're just doing yourself a disservice and you're wasting your life. You're wasting the time you have left on your life because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. So you need time to fucking wake up, man. Get your head out of your ass and try to enjoy whatever rest of your life you're gonna have.
Well, Josh, it just goes back to if you look at Extreme Rules, which I thought Extreme Rules was a really good pay-per-view. But of course, the one thing everybody has to hang on to is, well, but Roman Reigns retained the title. And it's like, just fucking stop at this point. If after a 3-hour show that gave us a big time return, a couple 5-star matches, a fantastic main event, I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, AJ carried Roman Reigns. No, he didn't. They brought the best out of each other. Period. Like, when are we going to stop with this one-sided bullshit? And when you start to so Monday, I just got tired of it. Was like, whatever. I'm going to have a call out day, which I typically don't do, but I just want to start calling people out on their bullshit. So I kept saying, why don't you like Roman Reigns? And not one person could give me a substantial reason. No, actually, my boy Rob Coakley did a really good job. He brought up some really valid points. So I want to give a shout out to my boy Coakley. But listen. Because of The Rock, come on, guys. Let's stop with that. Because if it was because of The Rock, Reigns would have been champ last year. Okay? If Correct. It was because of The Rock, because then that way, okay, let's flip it. Everybody seems to love The Rock. Well, The Rock only got to where he was because of his dad and his grandfather, right? If we're going to play this game, guys, can't we play it with The Rock then too? Or can't we play it with certain other people too?
Yeah.
It's just that people don't want to be wrong about Roman Reigns. And listen, I wasn't for Roman Reigns years ago, but he has absolutely progressed. He's been through so much personally and professionally that this man is an absolute professional now, and he's great in the ring. So, okay, he's good in the ring. I don't want to say great. He's good in the ring, but when you're a main event guy and you're in a championship match, all you have to be is good. There's very few great talents. All you have to be is good.
You know what I miss the most about wrestling and being a wrestling fan? Take the whole media and analyst stuff away, because that stuff doesn't really matter. What I miss most is the fact that we could concentrate what's going on in the ring on the TV show, not what's being booked, what's being presented this way. It's so old and played out, bro. Like, that's why maybe I'm the outcast of the wrestling media world, because I don't give a fuck who's getting booked which way or another.
Yeah,
if you're getting a reaction, you're doing something right.
Well, and I think that the past couple years have really, there's been growing pains in WWE, guys, because it is. I think the one thing that I took from Cody Rhodes' thing that he wrote was, Triple H explaining to him that it's a play. It's Shakespearean, and everybody has their roles and everybody has their parts. Yeah. We have to start seeing it like this, guys. It is the reality era. It's sports entertainment. It's heavy on entertainment, not as much, not really as much wrestling anymore, but at the same time, we have to see that they're telling different styles of stories. I'm not saying they're reinventing the wheel. They're just telling it a different way. Just like in the late 90s, they had to tell stories a different way because what was working in the 80s into the 90s, into the mid-90s, absolutely wasn't working. Yeah. I wasn't watching in the mid-90s. They had to do something different. And that's that's absolutely, again, another polarizing figure that people want to hate on. Listen, Vince Russo absolutely helped, really get WWE back on track, and I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of hate mail for that too. But, at the same time, you got to give people credit where credit is due. And Vince saw that foresight and said, listen, just Duke, Drozier, Skinner, the goon, like these ain't gonna fly. You're insulting people's intelligence at this point, you know. Vince saw the writing on the wall, and you know who and helped get WWE, you know, larger than what it was. It's we're there again. It shouldn't be cyclical, but you know, every 15 to 20 years or so, there's a generational switch in what entertainment is. Entertainment is different now, and they're going to tell a different story just to keep up with the Joneses or stay ahead of the Joneses, so to speak.
Yeah, I want to say this really quick. I want. It's kind of funny. It is Roman Reigns' birthday today, since you brought it up. But going back to what you say, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I feel, and I believe in myself, and I believe what we're doing here. I feel right now, as we speak here on May 25th, 2016, me and you are in tune with today's wrestling product as opposed to everybody else. I can say that with full fruition.
Well, I think it's because we see it as a show. You know, it's not an athletic competition, and it's different booking. Listen, there's still professional wrestling all over the world. Everything else is still booked in a professional wrestling manner, you know.
Yeah.
WWE though, and again, they're looking to fill roles, you know. So hear me out, guys. They're looking to fill roles, not spots on the roster, roles. They always have their comedy role. They always have their serious role. Think about it. They always have any stereotype or characterization you can come up with. WWE typically has it, and they always have. So whenever we say, Uha Nation Apollo Crews, he's the next Bobby Lashley. I don't mean that because he's big and black, guys. What I mean is that they're always looking for that big, charismatic, big smile, kind of like bodybuilder type dude. That's what I mean by that. You know what I mean? If I say this person's the next, no, it's just that they're interchangeable cogs because it's a Shakespearean play. It's theater, and I think that's why Sam it gets it as much as she does.
Yes, she does. Yeah.
She's an old theater major. She understands theater, and that's exactly what this is now. It's not our grandfather's wrestling anymore. There are still organizations out there like that, but I think a lot of guys, and we don't have to like it, Josh. You know that. I mean, it's one of those where it's like, listen, if you don't like it, you still have Lucha, you still have TNA, you still have Ring of Honor, you still have New Japan Pro, you still have, we could go on and on and on and on. It's just we have to accept that it's different now. That's all.
Yeah, I feel like people need to get out of the bubble. I'm going to time my get out of the bubble rant towards the end of the show. I don't want to give it away right now because
we're going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. But you brought up Extreme Rules. I guess it's a good time to bring it up. Yeah, why not, right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, why the hell not? I will say this. I want to give a shout out to everybody that got a chance to check out my play-by-play article. Over 20,000 views on the article, and we had 3,000 comments on the piece this past week. This is second to my WrestleMania article, which makes sense. Obviously, that's the biggest show of the year, so of course they get a lot of attention. But I want to thank everybody that gave a shout out and give me some props, because what I do with WrestleZone is not an easy job, man. As a guy who wants to be a color commentator or a wrestling commentator, I take a lot of pride with doing those play-by-play articles because I'm actually studying the moves, and it's really helping me be more in tune with the product. And I take a lot of pride in doing that. So it's always fun to do pay-per-views because it's live. There's no timeout, so I can space everything out or whatever. It's full go, and I have to go like this. So I want to just give a shout out to everybody that checked out the article this past week.
Dude, you're busting your backside doing those articles, man. And think about this. Imagine when SmackDown goes live, you're going to have pay-per-view weeks. You're going to have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, WWE. Although it does get you out of your TNA piece.
Thank God.
And then you'll still have Lucha on Wednesdays, too.
Lucha. There you go. Yeah, so, it's kind of funny. I realized that everybody talks about Roman Reigns only has 4 moves to do. Well, he actually has 9 moves because I actually cover his matches. If you want to be technical, I can say that. And by the way, going back to the shoving down your throat theory, I feel like the fans bring up the shoving down their throat theory more than WWE actually shoves Roman Reigns down people's throat. I get it. You don't have to like the guy, but at the same time, I mean, I brought it up to the show. The guy gets his ass kicked royally, and he's put people over the years. He's put Sheamus over at Money in the Bank. He put Bray Wyatt over in the pay-per-view. Rollins, he came back. Hey, who's the one that took the pin at WrestleMania 31? It wasn't Brock Lesnar. It was Roman Reigns. So, yeah, I get it. He's not Daniel Bryan, but come on. To say that he can't wrestle is some complete and utter bullshit, because what he proved this past Sunday night is he can go. Is his promos the greatest thing on earth? Hell no. But we watch what these guys do in the ring. But this guy is probably one of the best of them on the roster.
But I think the way that they're writing for Roman Reigns is good, because they're minimizing his words. They really are. They're not having him go on 15-minute promos. They're not leaving him out to dry like they were. Because I do feel, listen, and again, guys, we got to remember that, you know, all this hatred towards Roman Reigns, this is how he's being written into the story. So are you really going to blame Roman Reigns for – because they gave him the ball, are you going to blame him for running with it? What's he supposed to say? Well, the internet doesn't like me. Here you go, guys. Just take it back. It must not be any good.
Yeah, and all you guys would take that opportunity, too, if it was in front of you.
Absolutely. But we also have to look at, do you really think that Roman Reigns came up with Suffer and Succotash last year? No. That was written for him. The whole Tater.
Dude, that was like a year and a half ago, and we're still talking about that. We got to move on from that.
That's what I'm saying. And people keep going back to these little spots, but if you look at how they've been writing for him recently, he's been very short, to the point. And, guys, if you think by this point that they don't realize that they're going to get booze out of Roman Reigns, you are the ones that are living underneath a rock. They understand that Reigns is going to get booed. They understand what they have. They're marketing his entire campaign around, I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. Now even JBL was saying, well, some places boo him, some places don't. They're expecting this, guys. Don't think that you're playing into their hands. Booing Roman Reigns, and I keep saying this, guys, booing Roman Reigns is going to almost ensure that title stays on him. Because I'm going to go back on something that I said on Monday. I said on Monday that I think Seth Rollins is the biggest star in the company. Now, I'm going to retract that statement. I think that Seth Rollins is the biggest star in the fans' eyes in the company. But when it comes down to brass tacks, more people talk about Roman Reigns than anybody else on the roster. Whether it be good or bad, that makes Roman Reigns the biggest star.
I'll say this. I think Seth Rollins is the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I say Roman Reigns is the biggest star in wrestling? No. Because John Cena is still around, and he's coming back next week. So until he's gone for good, John Cena is still the biggest star in wrestling.
I guess I was thinking more like full-time versus part-time, because I don't know, you know. I guess, but you know what, man, I don't know, because in today's wrestling, I think that but Cena's still the biggest name because he's still the most recognizable. But and we'll see when he comes back who's talked about more.
Yeah.
But if more people, I still think, are talking about. Remember, guys, it's all about buzz in today's world, Twitter world and Facebook world and whatever else world that people are doing social media stuff on. I really don't know.
Yeah.
But it's all about buzz. And if you're talking about Roman Reigns, you're talking about the WWE. You're talking about the product. So you can boo him as much as you want to. You're showing that you care about that character. You might not say, well, I don't care about him. No, you do. That's why you're booing him. That's why you're getting so upset about him, because you're emotionally invested in seeing this man lose the championship. So that's why I think that I do, and I'm not saying he's the best in the company, but I do think that he's the biggest star just by overall conversation. Because like you said, Josh, how many times do in any wrestling show, and granted Cena has been away, so that's a great point. But, up until this point, no matter what, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, and no matter who comes up this in and out this rotating door, we're still always talking about Roman Reigns. Always. And that's all that matters, guys. If we're talking about him, we're giving him a bump, and we're giving him that push. So
I was watching a YouTube video. This is my last point on the Roman Reigns game before we go to Extreme Rules. I was watching a video from a show that I enjoyed, that one of my inspirations actually starting this show, my old show. It's called The Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson and David Hero do it. Damian Nelson had his own podcast this past it was yesterday. I got to watch the video. and he was saying that the best way to get your message through and your narrative that, oh, this needs to change, oh, Roman Reigns needs to be out of the top spot, is to turn your back on the guy. Not turn your back not on social media, not going on long soliloquies on Twitter about how bad this guy is, or bad or terrible the guy is. Turn your back in the crowd.
Sit on hands. Don't boo. If he's that bad, look, and Josh, just not to cut you off, but I said this on Monday, and I've been saying this for the longest time. Like, if you guys don't want Roman Reigns as champ, don't boo him, because look what happened with Ryback. When indifference, if you're indifferent about somebody and you're not cheering, you're out of the company like Ryback is, or about to be. If you're sitting there devoting all your time to hitting up your internet, Roman Reigns sucks, Roman Reigns sucks, Roman Reigns sucks, Vince is sitting back with a smile like the Cheshire Cat going, oh, I knew we got this one.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Money flying around.
And you know what's interesting about this though? Like I was saying, like, turn your back. But here's the thing though. Let's say you're that guy that hates Roman Reigns so bad, right? Or a lady that hates Roman Reigns. Because I'm not saying it's just all guys that hate Roman Reigns, because I know there's ladies that hate the guy too. Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like you can have you get in a weird situation where, let's say you're that guy that goes to these shows, but you have a kid next to you, and that's your kid, and your kid is the biggest Roman Reigns fan in the world. Are you going to tell your kid not to buy a Roman Reigns shirt because you want to protest that he's getting shoved down your throat, and you want to tell your kid at a young age that, oh, you need to realize what booking is and what the WWE really is? You gotta have that fantasy stuff. You can't tell a 6-year-old kid not to enjoy Roman Reigns because, oh, you know about you think you know about the booking of the WWE, but you don't. You don't. So you're gonna poison your kid's brain about how things should be booked in this at a young age, and then she's not gonna be a fan by the time she turns 20 or something.
Well, not only that, but if you want to sit there and if people aren't watching wrestling and all you want to do is say Roman Reigns sucks, I can't believe he's champ, that might get somebody to tune in and say, well, if everybody's complaining about this guy so much, I got to see what it's all about. And then somebody tunes in and they go, wait a minute, this guy is not bad at all. So what are people complaining about? And Josh, you bring up a good point. Listen, I have a 6-year-old. She loves Roman Reigns. Is it her favorite wrestler? No. It's going to be very interesting when Rollins faces Reigns because I don't know what side of the coin she's going to be on. But I'll tell you right now, she likes Roman Reigns a hell of a lot more than she likes AJ Styles. For some reason, she doesn't like Styles at all. I don't know why. But again, it's one of those where, listen, if you go to a live event, take a look around. And I know people always do, and they say, well, I didn't see any kids with Roman Reigns shirts on. Relax. Stop it. A lot of times people are seeing what they want to see. I mean, really pay attention to fans, I think that when you start watching for a long period of time, and I was like this when I was younger too, and we all as you start to get older, you start to see it more for what it is. Josh, you're years, and we always say this, you're years ahead from a mindset. You're years ahead of where you really are. And I just think people need to get out, like you said, get out of that bubble and quit thinking that WWE has to be catered specifically to you. And quit with this, I am a paying customer. Yeah, a hell of a lot of people are paying customers. And a hell of a lot of people got kids. Or a hell of a lot of people might like Roman Reigns themselves. Just like there was a bunch of adults that like John Cena and would wear his god-awful shirts all over the place.
Yes.
And all they did was look like a 10-year-old that was like grown up. Like, come on, guys. It's the same thing all over again.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Let's get to Extreme Rules really quick. Like I said, I enjoyed the pay-per-view too. I thought it was better than the Extreme Rules last year, and I was actually at Extreme Rules last year, so that's saying something. By the way, another Roman Reigns topic. Roman Reigns had Big Show's most relevant and interesting match in the last 5 years at last year's Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Just want to say that. Anyways, let's move on. Corbin and Ziggler, we got that right. Corbin did pick up the victory. I thought it was a solid match, the no DQ match. By the way, a little funny story about these pre-show panels, which I find really interesting because at Payback, I was like right behind Jerry the King Lawler at the last pay-per-view. And, dude, there was this guy before the show, like hovering over Booker T like throughout the whole pre-show. Anytime they went to a commercial break, he's saying, "Hey man, can I have an autograph, man? Come on, I need to take a picture with you, man. Come on, man." I told you the story about the guy got kicked out eventually, but you guys have no idea how crazy and loony these fans are around the talent around the pre-show. Hey, by the way, I found a funny line Corey Graves said in the pre-show. He's like, "Hey, you gotta take it easy before you get too sweet your friend," about AJ Styles winning. I thought it was kind of funny. I didn't take any offense. I thought that was very funny. But we did start off in a match I thought was the right match to start off with. Was Anderson and Gallows against the Usos, Texas Tornado match. I thought it was really good. Anderson and Gallows got the pinfall here. They got some momentum going, so I thought it was the right choice there. Adam, what was your thoughts on the opening match?
I dug it. I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. Again, Usos, I think it's just because we've gotten, I guess, complacent with their gimmick.
Yeah,
we kind of overlook the talent that they do have in ring. But I thought it was a great match, and I thought everything needed to happen exactly how it happened. Gallows and Anderson go over because I thought we were going to start to see a teasing of some sort of conflict between AJ and the club, so to speak. So I thought this was the right way. We called it. They were going to win. AJ wasn't going to, and then some stuff was going to play out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like when you I love the Magic Killer move they do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool. The next match we had was the New Day, right? It was New Day against the Vaudevillains, if I'm not mistaken.
Was that next?
No, it was Rusev and Kalisto. Yeah.
Kalisto, okay.
By the way, that was a very good match. Nice psychology in the match as well. Rusev with a nasty accolade to win the United States Championship. Mashka! Our guy, Mashka. Rusev is the U.S. champion again. Mr. Daley, your thoughts on that match?
Well, I hope Kalisto's still in one piece because he looked like he was getting bent back like Clayface, but except his whole body would be made out of clay. But I thought it was. I mean, we keep talking about the joke that I won with the U.S. Championship, but I think Rusev was the right move. And if it comes back to him and Cena and they're going to do a program, that's fine. But Rusev is I think another one of those talents that's very underrated that they need to do something with because he, for how big he is, he's agile, he's quick, he's physical, and he's intelligent, and he knows how to connect with the fans. Dude, is there anything better than his facial expressions?
Yes. Dude, I love the interview he had with Tom Phillips in the social media lounge. The dude is so hilarious with his promos, man. You're pathetic. Or like when he talked to Michael Cole, "Oh, you're not invited to the wedding." Yeah, there's a wedding, but you're not coming.
I love it. I love Rusev, man. I think he's the guy that I think, and I really think that. Do you think this, Josh, that they just did the whole League of Nations thing just to give them guys something to do for Mania, and now they're finally back on? Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before you know it, watch after like SummerSlam, and if there is like a second world title round, Del Rio is gonna get a big spotlight on SmackDown. I'm saying that right now. And watch out for Sheamus too, unless he's released or something too, because I think both of those guys are gonna get intertwined again with a lot of the guys on the roster.
I think, they're obviously starting to tell a story with Sheamus, guys, because, and I don't think this doesn't take a brain surgeon to say that. So, I don't want to make it seem like I'm plagiarizing from anybody, but, obviously they're about to, they're about to tell a story with Sheamus. Now, I don't know, is he on the chopping block? I wouldn't think so with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming out and stuff like that, but there is something going on with Sheamus. Like there's some inner turmoil. I'm interested. And that's all the way. Josh, how much do we always say? Make us interested. Us. I want to see what's up with Sheamus. Dog, what's going on?
Not only that, but you got something interesting going on with Apollo Crews. We could tie that in with the Raw thoughts too, as well, man. Like, there you go. Now we have the New Day Vaudevillains match. My only part of the pay-per-view that I did not like and this has nothing to do with the matches. I just thought the match order between where the Ambrose Asylum and the New Day match happened, I thought they should have switched spots. So, like, after the Rusev match, you should have had the Ambrose Asylum right there. And then where the Ambrose Asylum match, you should have had the Vaudevillains, because that would have been right after the four-way match. Gotcha. You know what I mean? Okay. Something like that. I bet you Jericho and Ambrose would have had a better reaction if they swapped the tag team title match in Jericho and Ambrose where they were put it. Dude, that was a no-win situation whatsoever for Ambrose and Jericho after that four-way match. That's probably one of the best matches for the IC title I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I mean, I said this on Monday. I think that was one of the best fatal four-ways I've ever seen. You know, I typically am not a fan of fatal four-ways because I prefer the elimination style fatal four-way matches.
Yeah.
I think it just adds that extra layer of excitement and you know what can happen. But this was one of the – I love that people were still complaining, and I love that Miz retained. I think Miz is on fire right now. But it told stories that needed to be told. Great ring psychology, so many false finishes, you know, and it wasn't. I don't think that they were wasted false finishes. They were smart. They were well placed. I thought it was really exciting, man. I really did. This was the match where my TV broke. I keep making a joke about it. Even our TV got extreme on Sunday night. But you know, I really this match had me on the edge of my seat. I mean, I was jumping around, which is probably why the TV fell off the stand.
Oh man, dude! Like going back to the second world title. Look at this. I wouldn't even be. I might get flagged for this, but I would not be upset if Miz was in contention for the second world title on SmackDown. He's doing that great of heel work in the ring. I would not be upset if Miz was like a world heavyweight champion instead of the WWE champion. You know what I mean?
Right now, The Miz is making this you know, and I know, guys, I'm a big Jericho fan, so I should always say that Chris Jericho is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, but really it was Mr. Perfect. But this reminds me really of back in that era that I grew up in when the Intercontinental Champion was a super charismatic guy. If he wasn't super charismatic, he had a manager, typically Bobby Heenan or you know, somebody else along the ways. Yeah. But it was always somebody that you wanted to see get beat. And the IC title was typically on a heel that you always wanted to see get beat. So then finally the Bulldog would win, or a Big Boss Man would win, or whomever, you know. I feel like they're finally starting to do that again with this title. And The Miz has been – I don't think there's anybody else right now I'd rather have the IC title on. I really don't. Because the IC title to me should be more about the storylines and the mic work. The U.S. title should be more about wrestling.
Yes. And the IC title, this has been the best IC title reign I've seen in the last 10 years. I think Miz is doing that good of a run with the IC title. I think Jericho's was brief with the 09 thing, but he had that feud with Mysterio where he was ripping his mask off. That was kind of short. But when you look at what the Miz is doing from a long-term, bigger picture aspect, I think this may be one of the best IC title reigns of all time.
I think it's going to depend on how long he keeps it, just because it's only been a couple months now. So it's been from, you know, about a month and a half. If he moves this until SummerSlam or Survivor Series, yeah, I would absolutely join in that. Absolutely.
Going back to the New Day Vaudevillains match, dude, during the New Day promo, this crowd just got excited. They're just clapping, and they're just in the middle of the promo. I thought that was pretty cool for them, right?
Isn't it crazy how over the New Day is when they come out dressed in neon crazy colors, wearing phalluses for horns, and the whole gimmick as a whole, the fact that it got over, and I'm so glad that it got over. I'm so happy for these guys. And it doesn't, you know what, I thought that we would see the end of New Day sometime soon, just because I thought that, okay, WrestleMania, a lot of times they hit the reset button. Yeah. I'm beginning to think, Josh, that we're going to see New Day for a while. I wouldn't break them up. I wouldn't
either. My main issues with what happened with the Shield breakup was that was gone too short. You could have kept that going on for even more years. Let me say this though for the New Day, I can't. The match with them and the Vaudevillains is perfect good guy versus bad guy match, especially the heat the Vaudevillains had when they cut off the New Day's promo. I thought it was really good. New Day did retain the tag team championships, and what I liked about this match, they actually let Woods go in there this time instead of Kofi and Big E this time. I thought it was a nice change of pace there.
Yeah, and I don't know if that had a lot to do because Kofi's been taking some time off to spend some time with his new son. I believe he just had a son. Congrats, yeah. Kofi, Big Papa. But I think listen. It's great for Woods because we want to see what Woods can do in the ring. I have a feeling we're going to get big things out of Woods regardless because if he doesn't do it in ring, do you have a feeling that he might end up being a manager down the line?
I hope so. Hopefully he doesn't get like a bad injury where it forces him to never wrestle again. But if he's in like the position with, hey, by the way, let's say like they brought a cruiserweight title. Let's say this whole series is for a new cruiserweight title, and they had that division on a SmackDown or Raw. You can have Woods do something like that or something like that. I agree with that. I think he'd be a great manager once his in-ring stuff is over with.
I do too, and I hope that he doesn't get lost in the shuffle, so to speak. I think Woods is hysterically funny, and he gets it. He gets how to connect with fans. He's another one of those guys that has the finger on the pulse.
Big E kills me, man. It's not just the hip gyration; it's just the way he talks on the mic kills me.
And Big E, and again, mannerisms matter, man. Like, if anybody's seen Kingsman, manners matter or manners always matter or whatever it is. Listen, mannerisms matter. And Big E, there's nobody that's more – because, it's a cartoon. It's a live-action comic book. We need to be overextension. So everyone in the New Day, I think, they all pull their weight equally. And I think that's why that they're still – it doesn't matter where they go. They're still getting one of the biggest crowd pops of the night.
And even in a loss, I think this is a good spotlight match for the Vaudevillains as well. I don't think they're negatively affected. I don't think their stock is down with the fact they lost this match.
No, and actually, I think this helped them out a lot because if you notice, Josh, or at least, I don't know, I want to get your opinion. I've heard this, but I've heard more people say, you know what, I really wasn't feeling the Vaudevillains, but now after I've seen them for this month, okay, I get them. I get what they're doing with their characters, and I enjoy them a little bit more. Have you heard that too, or is that just me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it goes back to everybody's so quick to assume things, and that's the final answer. They're not willing to let things happen. Hell, they didn't give English the time to cut a promo, and then once he started cutting promos, I was like, hey, there it goes. That's the same guy I saw in NXT. The guy's hilarious. He's a good heel.
I mean, the man was on Broadway before, right?
Yes, he was. In Chicago. He's from Chicago.
Yeah, so let's face it, guys. He knows how to be an entertainer. It's just we have to allow them to play their parts. And we don't got to like their characters. We don't got to have to like that. But we have to start remembering that they are characters, guys. Like, it's like when and again, not to get back to Reigns, but like him receiving death threats and all the racism and stuff like that, like, you guys realize that Samoa it's American Samoa, right? Like, do people understand geography or no? They're just not allowed to vote for some reason. They have to pay taxes, but they can't vote. It's the strangest thing. Plus, I think he was born in America anyway, so can we stop the racism towards Roman Reigns?
Hey, I don't think he cares anymore, nor does he have to. In that gray area, when you're not the good guy, the bad guy, you're the guy. Hey, it's real life. It's the reality era, people. He's making money for his family. That's what matters to him the most. And people forget that this is a business. While we do have that fantasy booking mindset and that we are fans, hey, this is still a business to a lot of these guys that are performers on the screen.
Mm-hmm. It's the people that understand the happy medium of story/business that are, and I say it all the time. Listen, in that industry, it does pay to be a yes man, because they have things in place. The guys that get the farthest are the ones that are always saying, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do this. And right or wrong, that's how it is in today's world. It used to be that hard work paid off and blah 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 blah. But it is a different time.
But it is a different time. But at the same time, I think for the guys that do work hard and that did bust their ass outside the company are getting a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
So it's not just hand-picked guys all the time. I think there's a fine balance, and that's what I'm enjoying the most about WWE. It's not just, who fit best for the WWE system. They're giving other guys opportunity to mean something. Mm-hmm. So let's go to the Ambrose Asylum. like I said, my two issues with fact is that you could have cut at least 9 or 10 minutes out of the match, and then secondly, you could have put that match in the third spot, and I think more people would have enjoyed it. And thirdly, I'll add a third one. When you first weapon the choice you go after is a mop, you know things are not going to end well.
Moppy, Perry Saturn's favorite. So it it was. I wasn't really high on this match to begin with. Beforehand, it exceeded what I thought, so I was okay with the match. I liked the payoff at the end. I think it was more about the payoff.
I thought the finish at the end was really good. The crowd was really into it as well. The couple last sequences.
Yeah, and I think at the end, the last 5 to 10 minutes of the match I thought were really good. And guys, with hardcore matches like that, typically they always started slow. Not everything can be these ECW hardcore style matches where it's blood from the first 5 seconds of the match. Yeah, I mean, we just can't do it, guys. And we don't
New Jack 30 seconds into the ring, or Sandman
bleeding on the way to the ring. But no, I think that it's always a slow burn with these, and that was the payoff. So we were really building towards that payoff, and
yeah.
I was entertained. It wasn't the best match listen, it wasn't the best match. It wasn't the worst match. It was just a match.
We're going to get some flack for that. Whatever, it's all good. Bring the heat. This guy is a natural born healer, for God's sake. And I live in Chirac, so there's heals all over the place. Anyways, let's go to the women's championship match. Charlotte retains over Natalya. I thought the match was kind of short, to be honest with you. I wish they had a little bit more time, but for what it was, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great or better than their NXT match, but Charlotte retained. At the end, I think it's the right choice to keep it on her. She has that appeal, and we'll talk about it in our Raw comments in a couple minutes. She's going to hold her own fine by herself as a heel. So with the whole Dana Brooke thing, I think you made the right choice there, my good brother, and I like where they're going here.
Yeah, I dig it. We'll talk about the big picture, when we talk Raw, but I thought this was the right move. I think that they need to keep it on Charlotte. I don't want to say need to, but I think it's smart to keep it on Charlotte because, she's had the women's title / Divas title for a really long time now, and, with Sasha being out for maybe an extended period of time, who knows what Bayley's status is, if they're going to bring her up maybe as a rush, as a panic move because Sasha is out for an undisclosed period of time. If Paige gets going into the champion, whatever the case may be, right now to me, Charlotte is the epitome of the women's division. Though, when it comes to cutting promos, when it comes to just the overall look, and that's the thing, guys. But the look when she comes out in her robe and has that title, she looks like a champion. She carries herself like a champion. I think that I would like to see her break Nikki Bella's record.
That'd be interesting, actually.
Record after record after record.
Can you picture a Heat segment where, let's say, Sasha or somebody took the title off of Charlotte at SummerSlam, and then Nikki Bella appeared on stage just looking down the ramp with her return? You picture how pissed people be in Brooklyn?
Oh, man. So how long has Charlotte had that title so far?
She's had it since Night of Champions, so this is going to be September of last year.
Okay, so September of last year. What's that? Yeah, well, I know we understand it's a new title, Sam, but it's technically a continuation. She's like, no, it's a different title. Okay, well, regardless,
it's a better title.
I'm trying to think. What's the record for consecutive days that Nikki Bella now has? 300 something.
I don't know. I tend to I choose and tend to forget that record, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
Real quick with Charlotte, Josh, let me ask you a question. This is another one. Would you keep the title on her till next WrestleMania?
No.
No?
I would not. Would it be good in the long term? Maybe. I just don't know. The way the fans are so impatient with these days, I don't know if you can have a champion over a year. I don't care if it's man or female. I mean, yeah, maybe, I guess, but I don't know. I really don't know. If they do it right, she has the best opportunity to be the best heel on the roster, either men or face. She could be the best heel on the roster if she holds it all the way to WrestleMania.
Ooh, I agree with that because she knows how to get heat. And, and I don't think she's as clumsy on the – and some people say she's a little clumsy on the mic. Listen, I think that she's good at improv. She's good at improvisation. She's good at feeling the crowd and kind of trying to play off the crowd as much as possible. But here's my question, Josh. I know in today's, ADD society, it's really hard to keep a championship on one person.
Yeah.
But why was it okay? And I'm just as guilty. Why was it okay with Punk? Why was it okay for Punk to hold the title from 2011 to 2013? And granted, it was the end of 2011, so it makes it seem, longer. But why was it okay we were all okay with that. And towards the end, we started having, everyone wanted him to lose. There was a split, 50-50 split going on. But nobody batted an eye when it was Punk. But if we talk about it being Roman Reigns having the title for X number of days or Charlotte having the title for X number of days, Nikki Bella just broke that record. Everybody else gets into a tizzy about it.
Yeah.
I am enjoying the longer championship reigns. What, New Day's had the titles now since when? SummerSlam?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So they're going on close to a year, and I don't know if they're going to make the full year or not, but let me see. Miz just got his at WrestleMania or the night after WrestleMania, so we can take that off. Reigns, WrestleMania, so, that's quick there. But Charlotte, I understand 2 different titles, but still, if they keep that on her all the way till maybe even Royal Rumble or something like that, I don't know. I think there is something, especially when they're new championships, and this is a new championship, you want to solidify it. You don't want to play hot potato with it yet, and that's why I think Charlotte Flair, being the key word, is the best person to run with this maybe for a year. I'm okay. I think there's been so many entertaining storylines away from the championships. Yeah. I'm okay with having the long championships. I think that's what everyone's missing. People are focusing too much on the titles versus the stories that are being told.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I feel like if they want to make Charlotte like a big name like Lita or Trish Stratus or Victoria like that, you could do something like that where you have that title go as long as that goes. But
risky, don't get me wrong.
It's risky, but I think if done the right way, I think it can work out. And I feel that Charlotte, she does let the crowd rally her a little bit on the promos, but I think she's fine. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The way she comes out with street clothes, she gets hotter and hotter with each show. I don't know. Maybe that's me.
Absolutely.
Yes. Let's talk about the main event. I thought this match was awesome with AJ and Roman. Seeing Roman swing AJ from the barricade to the LED screens at ringside. Did you see that spot? That was brutal, man. Like Cesaro did it to Miz.
That reminded me of when Batista back at Bragging Rights 2009, when Batista was just throwing Rey Mysterio all over the place, I loved it. Again, a lot of great spots, a lot of great chemistry between these two. 5-star match in my opinion, but of course it's because Roman Reigns wins that it's and a great surprise return by Seth Rollins coming out of the crowd, and I love how they teased it on TV because you didn't know if it was the club, was it maybe but I think we all knew it was Rollins, especially by the crowd pop the way it was happening. But
no music either.
What's that?
No music either.
I love that they didn't play any music until they went off air. I'm so glad they didn't play any music till they went off air.
Oh yeah, and I feel like AJ stock, because I know Ryan, our good friend Ryan Taylor, sent us a question about AJ. What's next for him? I'll tie it into our raw thoughts, but to say that he's buried, come on, man. You have 2 5-star matches and you're buried because LOL Roman Reigns won. Come on, man. Come on, man.
We have to start to realize that if you're in the championship picture, if you're in a championship match for 2 straight pay-per-views, that's not being buried. And I get it that people are going to say, now because he lost on Raw, well, no, they're burying. No, it's just that there's a different story to tell. There's obviously something going on with him, Gallows, Anderson. So there's a story. They're shifting the story with AJ Styles. Doesn't mean he's out of the picture. It just means he's out of the picture for right now. That's all.
I feel like when somebody says, the next person that says, oh, this person's getting buried, you're just burying yourself, okay?
It's not like AJ Styles is losing to Heath Slater and then Curtis Axel and then, you know what I mean? It's like...
Oh, you took a clean loss to Darren Young on Raw.
You know,
I think it would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like Bob Backlund had him in a chicken wing, so that means he's buried. No, guys, no.
All right. So overall, you enjoyed Extreme Rules, right? Overall.
Yeah, I keep making a joke. Like, if anybody, I should be like upset and say that it was a horrible pay-per-view because I lost a 42-inch television in the process jumping around. But no, I thought it was. Listen, I thought it was a good pay-per-view. You know, I wasn't in the best of moods after a TV comes crashing off your wall. Trust me, I wasn't in like the happiest of moods. But the pay-per-view kept my mind off of the financial loss that we had. It did their job. They entertained me. Hey,
what a concept!
Imagine that.
Yeah. By the way, make sure to follow us at Twitter at WC Josh Lopez at Adam Daley 13 for all your wrestling questions. Anything you guys want to know, we love to talk wrestling with you guys. Check out Wrestling With as well later on tonight with Adam and the great Sam Daly. All the good shenanigans. Who knows? Maybe some comic book characters come in between these shows. You never know who appears on Wrestling With. Let's get to Raw. I was in and out of Raw because I got a new TV setup here, so I don't have DVR on my cable box. I missed some parts of Raw, but I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it. What I loved about Raw this past Monday was the fact they actually did have Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Not just random guys coming. Oh, hey, I should be in the Money in the Bank match. Oh, I should. You know how sometimes they have like guys repeatedly with you have random ass mics coming out of the background. They got like 30 mics in the background. Oh, I should be.
What I liked was that, and this is where I think everyone wants to criticize, but I think this is the brilliance that is the puppet masters. So your main event is AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. You've just split the IWC. You know, think about it. And like, so for everyone to say, "Oh,
in a ladder match,"
right. So this is qualifying for a Money in the Bank ladder match. You have Styles versus Owens, and now people went, "Oh no, but I wanted Kevin Owens to win Money in the Bank, but I want AJ Styles to win Money in the Bank. So what do I do?" It's brilliant, guys. They're playing us against ourselves. Like, and I don't mean against like, Josh, like me and you, like we always talk about it. Like they're playing against our own emotions. Like, man, like I want both. It's like I want both guys to be in there. But and I just think it's like, if Owens would have lost, oh, they're burying Owens. What are they doing with him? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And same thing with Styles. I think it was one of those situations where, but WWE knew what they were going to do with that though too. They know they're going to hear that. It's just they have different plans, guys. They don't care. Let's just face it. And a lot of times they shouldn't care what we think if they have a storyline in place.
Yeah, if you have a storyline in place, you know where you're going. And at the same time, you still got money in your pocket. So either way, they don't care. I really liked how, like you said earlier, how Sheamus like snapped. I just like the format of how the show went. Like you had backstage segments that had plot points. Like you had this thing with Sheamus and Apollo Crews. I liked how Rollins was with Stephanie, where he was trying to do the Plan B stuff, and she's like, "Oh, things changed here." It was brief, but I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
And let me get your opinion, Josh. Everyone instantly said, "Well, man, that didn't take Seth Rollins long to turn heel." Guys, in my opinion, he didn't turn heel. He just came back as Seth Rollins. Josh, what's your opinion?
What were you expecting? We talked about this a couple weeks ago. You guys are the same people are going to say, "Oh, Rollins should have been a heel the whole time. Oh, this face thing is not going to work." Dude, stop it with the heel and the face, man. Shit. Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm. It's proving that they're writing a story in a way. So then again, I can't, not to beat a dead horse, but it's almost UFC style. Not everybody or boxing. Perfect example. Pacquiao versus Mayweather. I can't stand Floyd Mayweather. It's for personal reasons, not dealing with boxing. Plus, I just think
That's a rant for another day.
That's a rant for another day. But look at it. Floyd Mayweather is super polarizing, but you can't say that he's not successful. It's the same thing they're doing with Reigns and Rollins right now. It's funny that Rollins is going to be the heel, Reigns is going to be the face, but yet Seth Rollins is going to get the cheers, and Roman Reigns is going to get the boos. It's not face and heel. It's about who we latch onto, and they're just running with personalities now, guys. That's it. It's, again, the reality era. And it's just like any reality show that we watch. It's not real, guys. Even any reality show you watch is not real.
I know it's live action, but
yeah, this just has more action in it. This has more lampooning in it. This has more action. This has more. Come on, guys. We're supposed to be better than this.
I saw. Speaking of live action, I saw the live action Jungle Book movie. It was really, really good. I thought it was really good.
When we took Amber to go see Goosebumps last fall.
Is that the one with Jack Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
And whenever we did that, we saw the preview for Jungle Book in 3D. Listen, I'm not a Jungle Book fan, but when we saw like just the trailer for it in 3D, I was like, man, I want to see this movie. I don't care what it was just it looked awesome.
Oh man. So you talk about father and daughter things. Let's go to Rick and Charlotte. What I thought stole the show this past Monday night. It's been coming. I think they made the right call. I think Rick was really, really good in this segment as far as emotions concerned. And I think the announcers sold it perfectly after that. Like they were saying it was disgusting and pathetic of how Charlotte dressed down her father and stuff. So I thought it came off great, the promo this past Monday. How about you?
Wait, so people were complaining about that promo? Really? Like, wait, they were complaining that she dressed down her dad because we didn't see that coming? That she's the monster, she's the queen of the women's division?
I saw somebody after that segment say on Twitter, what was the point of that? That was such a waste of time.
Heat, or people that stupid. Heat was the point of that because everybody for some reason loves this drunken idiot that stumbles out there I say that in jest, guys. It's because that's the joke. I love Ric Flair. Jesus, I'm going to get so much heat for that one, but I love Ric Flair. Anybody that knows me knows how much I love Ric Flair. But no, but it's how much have we complained Rick shouldn't be in the women's division? Rick shouldn't be in the women's division. So and this is exactly how I wanted it to happen. Charlotte got the win without Rick, and then basically tell Rick to hit the bricks. And I don't think they could have done it any better. I thought that playing into the sympathies of you were never there. I always had to watch you on TV. 30 years of my life, like it was, you abandoned me. Those are emotional. We're telling a story, guys. We're trying to pull emotion out of people, and it apparently worked. Because if people were saying, oh, well, how dare they dress down Ric Flair? Really? How dare Ric Flair sometimes dress himself down? This is a man who used to spend $30,000 in a weekend in a bar. Well, you know what I mean? Like, come on now, guys. We can't protect certain people when, like, in a promo when he's the butt of every joke to everybody else all these other times. Come on now. It just because, listen, WWE is allowed to do the same things that we are. So if we say certain things, why the hell can't they?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you know what? At the same time, Adam, Ric Flair, everybody says, oh, the only reason why Charlotte's successful, the only reason why she's having this title reign so long is because Ric Flair and he's best friends with Triple H and blah, 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 blah. But, we need Charlotte to stand her alone. And when she does it, this segment was horrible. What was the point of that? Why they need to do a filler segment in between the second hour? Can you just let her have her new feud come out? Shut the fuck up!
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I loved it. This is wrong of me, but I was laughing the entire time. Because I thought Charlotte did a great. I love good heat, and I love. Listen, these are promos that we always talk. We want edgier stuff. What gets more edgier than on live TV when your father is a 2-time Hall of Famer saying, listen, it's cool that you were a Hall of Famer, but you were a terrible father. You were never around. You were always working. You were always gone. You want to talk about hitting that reality era button and getting, and making people go, oh, man, how dare you say that? And Charlotte worked her ass off. I'm tired of people saying people got there because of it. Were doors maybe opened up? Maybe. But they're not going to hand over. Why didn't the Usos, why didn't they split? One's the IC champ, one's the US champ, if it all comes down to who you're related to. No, it's because Roman Reigns has something, guys. It's because Charlotte to me right now, and especially with Sasha Banks injured, Charlotte, there's nobody can touch Charlotte in the women's division. Becky Lynch is the closest one, but when it comes down to overall being able to pull heat, being able to handle a match and ring psychology, it's absolutely Charlotte. There's not even a 1A, 1B scenario. There's nobody close to Charlotte right now. When Sasha comes back, we'll talk. But right now, there's nobody close to Charlotte.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You could have if everything revolved around Roman Reigns and Samoans, you would have Reigns as the world champion. You have Jimmy and Jay as the IC and US champion. You would have the tag team, the Samoan guys from New Japan as the tag team champions. And you'd probably have Tamina or Nia Jax as the women's champion right now. So
no, that's the thing. That's the game that people want to play. And listen, and a lot of people said, well, and this is one kind of debate, I got into the other day. And again, it wasn't like an argument. It was a good debate because it's a dude that I really respect a lot. Coakley, shout out, brother. But I think back to when, like, the mid-2000s, we were all saying, and I don't care, at my age, we were all saying that John Cena was handed everything because he's the little rich white boy, the entitled white boy that was just a yes man, that didn't know how to wrestle, but was going to be the fake Marine to do this and that. That was the vibe. That was what people were saying, right? That he didn't care about wrestling. He cared about the paycheck. It was this and that. And that's what everyone's saying about Reigns, except they're tossing in the racism. They're tossing in the fact that, oh, well, The Rock, blah, blah, blah. I feel that Roman has it a million times harder than what Cena did. And we were rough on Cena. And we were really rough on Cena for unfairly and unjustly for a very long time. And it's the same thing and honestly, Josh, we talk about it all the time. I don't like the Roman Reigns character, but the more people give him shit, the more I'm becoming a Roman Reigns fan.
Yeah, Kevin Owens and Bray Wyatt are my favorite guys on the roster, with the exception of Seth Rollins. But like I said, even though Roman Reigns is not my top guy on the roster, I have a lot of respect for what he does in the ring, and I'm a big fan of what he does in the ring. That doesn't mean I'm a mark for him. I don't even have to come on here to defend him, but what I do here is point out how dumb and how these narratives and these concepts of what this guy is a fallacy.
Josh, I think the biggest thing is that we're too caught up in the championship. And I know people don't like us, but it's a prop. And I'm not saying titles don't matter and championships don't matter and this and that. And everyone's on if Roman drops the title, he's going to have this many runs in this short period of time. How many times have we seen Cena have a 1 month run, a 1 week run? I mean, he was transitional 3, 4, 5 different times, and he's a 15-time champ. Anybody that's going to have multiple reigns over the course of their career are going to have a bunch of little small ones, mixed in. Unfortunately for Reigns, a lot of them happened very early, in his career. Yeah. I think I look at it this way, and again, I know, guys, just to compare it to another show, but it's sometimes it's being subjective to the thing. The Walking Dead, Rick is obviously the main character; he's the leader. But Daryl Dixon's probably the most popular character on The Walking Dead, right? I would say. I mean, depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But people don't go crazy if it's a Rick-heavy episode and Daryl isn't in it as much, or people don't go because you understand it's a goddamn story. When are we going to stop and realize that they're telling a story and we just have to go? And I get it. Let's complain. Because we want it to be. And I'm not saying it's fake, guys. It's a story. Like, please don't. And it's interchangeable, which we do have a privilege that it can be interchangeable. But we have to understand that if they have a story written so that they have something planned out for months ahead of time, we cannot expect them to drop plans like that for us. If they have merchandise, if they have promotional material, if they have all this money invested in certain things, they can't just switch storylines on a dime.
Yeah, you can't do that. And then when they do what you want, and then bitch that, and then when that happens, you bitch about how it should have been done the other way. Well, why the fuck did you waste that whole time bitching and get on your soapbox about it?
And this is the perfect example. Josh, this is the perfect example. The end of Raw is the perfect example to me why Roman Reigns should be champion for a very long time, because his reaction isn't changing, and he's always getting the biggest reaction. But everyone was like, no, AJ Styles, we want Styles as champ. But then as soon as you put him against Kevin Owens for a Money in the Bank qualifier, the crowd split. Well, I thought you wanted AJ, or do you want Owens? And just like anytime we ask people, okay, Bray sounds like an awesome Money in the Bank winner. Okay, well, what about Owens? Well, what about, oh, man, I don't know. You're constantly getting that split. Yeah. We're all, and I don't want to say we're all, but there seems to be a majority agreement that Reigns is constantly having that crowd pop. And guys, again, just because it's not cheers, people are invested. So Oh, Josh, you get it. I don't know.
Hey, we said it today. We're not holding anything back, so bring the heat. And boy, after my last question here, I'm gonna get into the ranting mode because we got a lot to get into. It's gonna be comedy. I'm not gonna be raging. You're not gonna see me pop a blood vessel, but I'm gonna tie in some comedy stuff into it as well. But last question for Raw and going into next week. What does Adam Daley, if he has the pencil, hashtag Daily for Booker, Adam for Booker? No.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Maybe we can ask Sam's thoughts on this one. What would you do with John Cena when he comes back next week?
I've been big on this. I want to see Cena come back, and I want him to basically cut a promo. I want Corbin to come out and say, "You haven't been around, man. It's something different." I want Baron Corbin versus John Cena. I really do. Shout out to Baron Corbin for stringing together a back-to-back CM Punk / Joker line on Raw on Monday. Well done, sir. But listen, I've been saying for weeks, I would like to see Corbin versus Cena. I think it's something that would be good for the fans. It would be good for Baron Corbin. It would be a good feud for Cena whenever he comes back. I don't necessarily want to see Cena in the United States title picture. If that's the route they want to go, I'm okay with that though too. But I would like to see Cena kind of really start to elevate some of the young talent. And remember, guys, I'm not saying elevate by that means Cena's going to start laying down for people. Look what losing to John Cena did for Kevin Owens last year, guys.
Yeah,
and that's all I'm going to say.
Like, I'm not going to make a prediction for me right now because I just want to see what happens. Like sometimes, like I think we do it to ourselves as a detriment. Like we have these theories of what's going to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, you're like, oh, it's so horrible. It's the worst thing of all time. So I'll wait to see what happens.
What would you like to see, though? I mean, I know it's because, that's the thing. And I don't know, we're probably not getting Corbin yet. But and again, guys, remember, I'm not a Baron Corbin fan. And I'm not really like this big John Cena fan, but I think that there would be something special with a program between them two. But Josh, what would you just like to see if you were fantasy booking?
People are going to give me crap for this, but I have a reason why. I want to see Cena in the Money in the Bank match, but whoever costs Cena that Money in the Bank briefcase, he gets into the field into SummerSlam.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Because I don't see Cena winning the Money in the Bank.
No.
No, I don't.
I would, and I'm going to toss this out there for comedy purposes. I would also like to see John Cena wrestle Darren Young, just because if anybody remembers the old Nexus days, it's John Cena versus Blackwell Cena, and he addressed that. So don't start with your racism bullshit towards me, guys. Remember, Darren Young addressed that in the crowd. Oh, I hear all you. I'm Black John Cena, because that was a running joke, right, guys?
Yes.
Listen, they addressed it. They owned it, so we can joke about it. So stop with the oversensitivity. But tell me that wouldn't be funny. Like, come on, we would get a kick out of that. That would be one of those like kind of funny. Like, it's just we don't want to laugh anymore, man. We just want to overly criticize. That's all.
Hey, by the way, 4th of July is on Monday this year. Darren Young better make his in-ring debut with Bob Backlund on the 4th of July Raw. I'm telling you right now.
This gimmick is growing on me. It's grown on. This is like the Odd Couple met like Strange Bedfellows meets like this is it is really growing on me big time.
You know what I love about it? We get these first run vignettes on SmackDown before they replay it on Raw.
And I love the back and forth. Like, doesn't it? You could tell there's a couple times where Backlund almost cracks because he's like when he gets so intense and stuff. Like just the back and forth, the chemistry they have. It's just funny, man. Like, again, it's just one of those fun things. Let's have fun with this again. Yeah. Make WWE great again.
It's funny. Like anytime I see Bob Backlund like snap or yell, it's the funniest thing in the world. It is.
Sir Bob Backlund. I like Bob Backlund,
man. Let's get into the little couple of topics. I call it rant and rave. You can call it whatever you want. I have a series of things of stuff I want to get off my chest. And Adam, if there anything you want to rant on before we wrap up the show, we'll intertwine your thoughts into this as well. This is always fun. Anybody's welcome on Rant and Rave. If you have something to rant or get off your chest, this is your time. Can somebody tell me what in the blue fuck is a Royal Farms Arena?
Pepperidge Farms remembers. I don't
what
know.
What farm is Royal? The one that Borat has?
Maybe. Well, in Kazakhstan, they do have great potassium. Great potassium in Kazakhstan.
And they got managers that run around. I'm not going to. It's kind of funny how I'm a broadcaster and Borat was actually a broadcaster in Kazakhstan. But seriously, bro, you're killing me with these arena names, man. What in the fuck is a Camping World Stadium? Are we going to have tents? Are people making s'mores during the WrestleMania kickoff show? Hey, kiddies, come on, let's have some s'mores. Come on.
What kills me is like a lot of these companies that are, that are investing in these stadiums and arenas and stuff like that. Like, I've never even heard of them. I have no idea. Like, the Smoothie King one down in New Orleans was always funny. I think the Dunkin' Donuts Center.
That's an actual restaurant chain, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was like a gas station or something. I have no idea. I'm probably very wrong on that one, but it's funny. I just can't wait, and there might be one already. But living, unfortunately, in North Carolina. Well, no, I don't want to say that because I met my beautiful wife in North Carolina. But I want a Harris Teeter arena, just because it sounds so terrible. Give me the Harris Teeter arena. The Piggly Wiggly. Yeah, I think there is a Piggly Wiggly arena somewhere.
Dude, they changed. You remember Sunlight Stadium for Miami for WrestleMania? They changed it to the new Miami Stadium. What is that?
That's not boring. That's almost as lazy as the club.
Hey, they want the Bullet Club. They got the club.
Right.
That's it. You got to pick your hill to die on, damn it. Anyways, this other arena I just found absolutely ridiculous. So they're changing the Joe Louis Arena, right? For the Red Wings. That's like going down.
Arena, right?
Yeah. They're having the Little Caesars Arena. That's what's become Little Caesars. Now, no offense to Little Caesars, I have one a couple blocks away from my house. It's good. I don't think it's the best pizza we have here in the city, but I'm biased. Chicago's known for pizza, but really for hockey, are you gonna be shooting pepperoni at the goalie or sausage? I don't know.
Be careful what you ask for, man. They might. In Power Games down here, we got a bunch of pierogies always racing against each other, and that don't make any sense other than like just pierogies are a big Pittsburgh thing because of the Polish and all the immigration we had and stuff like that. So, but it's just all gimmicks now, and it's all basically and it's money. It's just money, and we're gonna even see more ridiculous stuff. They don't care what they're putting on their stadiums, arenas, as long as that money's coming in. They could care less. People, it's not selling out, guys. It's buying in. Unfortunately, that's what today's world is. I don't necessarily like it, but like we always say, adapt or perish.
Hey, Rod's bought in.
Right, exactly.
Business. Hey, before you know it, Crazy Bread Night or the.
Oh, they're having Crazy Bread Night, man. Come on, that they already want to call it the oven, don't they?
Yes. Oh man, this next one goes out to Taz. Now I'm gonna tie this with some comedy here because, like I said, I have a lot of respect for him. But again, dude, you're almost 50. You had a great career. You had a great run on commentary. Stop being so insecure. Okay, I get it. Roman Reigns was counted down by a PR person when you're about to come on air, and the host asks, "Oh, hey, do you know about Taz?" I get it. It's bad timing, it's unforeseen circumstances, but stop making your show every single week about whenever I say something, I'm not gonna be in the Hall of Fame. You're just showing that you're being insecure anytime you make a comment, I'm just being honest. Anytime you go on a rant on something on a wrestling show, whether it's WWE or whatever, I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Wait, fucking get it, you're honest. If you have to say 100 million times that you're honest on your TV, on your whatever show you're doing it, audio, radio, whatever, you're not honest. That's like somebody telling me, I don't mean to offend you, but you are offending me. Come on, man.
Well, that's like, listen, living in the South for a little bit. If somebody says, "Oh, well, bless you," that really means fuck you.
Yeah.
So if you ever happen to travel to the South and somebody goes, "Oh, well, bless you," or "I'll pray for you," that usually means go fuck yourself. Is that's Southern slang for that? Apologize for the language, guys, but anyway, I don't know, man. I because I don't listen to Taz. I don't, and again, no disrespect to Taz. It's just I don't listen or to any of the other podcasts or anything. I think that he has a great mind. I don't know where what goes here or there. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could add more on, but I don't even know like the scenario.
Yeah. This one should be interesting. We get good back and forth. I'm gonna keep it to 3 things today. I live here in Chicago, and I take a lot of pride in my city, but there's a guy that makes our city look like a bunch of pussies, douchebags, all wrapped into one. And that's one Frank the Clown. Now, I have a backstory about this because I'm not going to say, oh, I don't like the guy, even though I'm not going to say I'm going to rip the guy when I don't know him. I do know him. I've talked to him a couple of times, actually. I praised him one time when he did an article on Punk once Punk left the company, all that stuff was going down. And I never met a more condescending asshole in my life than Frank the Clown. I'm sorry. I'm going to be as blunt as humanly possible. Everybody can rip him for going out with Noelle Foley. I think she just has I don't know what taste she has with men, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna rip her on it. That's her choice. Whatever, do what you gotta do, bro. But oh god, I can't stand that guy, and he makes my city look bad, and that's what pisses me off the most.
Here's the only thing I'll say. I obviously don't know the dude, so I don't want to like say one way or the other. I ain't gonna hate the player or the game. Listen, if he's dating Noelle Foley, tip of the hat or tip of the clown thing. But there's one thing I'll say is like the only thing that kind of, and I don't know. Listen, again, I don't know the dude, guys, but what rubs me the wrong. One thing that rubbed me the wrong way was last year there was a bunch of cosplayers in I think it was Des Moines, Iowa. Mm-hmm. And they got pulled, or, they got told they had to move or put a shirts on and blah, blah, blah. And he kind of went on a Twitter rampage about how it's disrespectful, it's this and that. Like, dude, you dress up like a clown to every event. And then you sit there and complain and say, well, I make sure that I'm not on camera. No, you're making sure that you draw attention to yourself at every event that you go to. Listen, congrats on self-branding. It's awesome. It's a good job. But don't cast stones at people that are paying homage to, past legends, because you're dressing up as a clown, not Doink the Clown. Like, what if I dressed up as Joker and went to every WWE event I went to? And the thing is, like, when I took that to heart because I'm a cosplayer, and we never buy seats anywhere near the bottom bowl or anything like that. We stay back so that we're not a distraction and we're nothing like that. But for somebody that's constantly ringside, whether it's hard camera or not, dressed up as a clown, not Doink the Clown, just some random clown, yes, you're trying to draw attention to yourself. And then when the WWE leaves you off of a list of like the top like fans, fanatical fans, don't take to Twitter to cry and whine about it. Who cares, man? You're dating Noelle Foley. You got an in with the WWE. Who knows if you're even paying for these seats anymore? You don't have to take to Twitter to tell people how many shows you pay for a year and how many. Who cares? Like, and yes, dude, dressing up as a clown, not Doink, not anything. You're absolutely trying to draw attention to yourself. Period. You're not cosplayers, are they? Yeah. Absolutely. But at least they're drawing attention of dressing up as a legend or dressing up as a current superstar. If you're just dressing up as a random clown to be the WWE clown, like I said, it'd be like me dressing up as Joker and going to every WWE event. It would be annoying and it would be played out, and I wouldn't do that, And this coming from a cosplayer that goes to WrestleMania every year in costume, when I do go and things like that. So, but again, we don't sit ringside. We don't sit, so I didn't take it personally to what he was saying, but I don't know. I just think it's wasted arrows when, he dresses up to every event, and it's not even correlated with anything WWE other than him wanting to brand himself as a super fan. So when you brand yourself as a super fan, you're saying you're doing the same things that you're criticizing other people for.
Yeah, and at the same time, you're dating Noelle Foley. You may be good friends with CM Punk or whatever, but that doesn't mean you have to big-time people or be condescending towards them. That's my main issue. Okay, congrats. You have money and you get the opportunity to be in front row at all these shows. I'm sure there's a gazillion amount of wrestling fans that would love that opportunity to be in front row at any wrestling show, at least even one. But when you're going to throw it at people's face, oh, look at me. I'll go look at my girlfriend. Look at this. Look at that. Come on, man.
Listen, and again, I don't want to speak poorly about him. Hell, me and the dude might even get along, but it's just, I didn't like last year when, like I said, he kind of went after those cosplayers, and then like later on, it was like a couple months later, was just complaining because I'm not on the top fan list. Well, dude, you're kind of in with the company. You're dating a legend's daughter. Like, come on, man. Like, you're in. You're not a fan. You're like a part of the machine in a way. So.
Yeah, there's more things to worry about in life than a WWE.com list.
Yeah, like, come on, man.
A couple more things before we head out of here. Make sure to follow Adam at Twitter at AdamDaley13. Check out Wrestling With tonight. Just go check out Wrestling With. You find it pretty easily on the YouTubes. It's not that hard to find. Follow Sam at Twitter, LadyNext13 as well. Check out my articles for WrestleZone.com, my play-by-play articles. I'm doing Lucha Underground tonight. Should be interesting what they do there tonight. Besides that, a couple things as always. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you like to see the video of the show, and you'll get notifications whenever me and Adam are recording the show live, so you can get to see it, the live taping session of this. And as always, I add the WWE.com interview with Michael Cole on these podcasts on iTunes. Speaking of iTunes, subscribe to the podcast, the same title of the show here as you find it on iTunes. It's the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. Subscribe, leave a rating or review, tell a friend about it. Those numbers and reviews and ratings help our name get up there and let the people know what we're doing here, because we're having a blast. Yeah, there's some vulgar language in between, but we're having fun, and this is two brothers talk about the business we love. So, Mr. Daley, any final words before we head out here today?
No, well, yes, non-wrestling related. Justice League 50 came out. The big Joker reveal happened. Apparently there were 3 Jokers. And listen, guys, if you want to talk about, like, everyone wants to criticize this whole Roman Reigns thing. Everyone's always so hypercritical about everything. Joker in the lore of Batman is not supposed to have. He's supposed to just be this enigma that came out of nowhere. But now in Justice League, spoiler alert, in case anybody doesn't want to know, Batman was told by the Mobius chair that there's 3 Jokers. And they have not announced the names yet, but just that there was 3 Jokers, and Batman's going to get to the bottom of it. So I don't like it, but again, it doesn't matter because I'm still going to follow the story. I'm still going to follow and see what's going on with Joker. And again, just quit being so hypercritical, guys. Enjoy life. Enjoy life.
Be like the lady with the Chewbaca mask. That's
yes, there is. The little things, man. It's like Zombieland. Appreciate the little things.
Yes. By the way, love the Harley Quinn t-shirt. I've been talking to you for almost 2 hours, and I haven't pointed that out yet.
So, yes. I like to throw Harley on it anytime I can.
Margot Robbie, best for business. Thumbs up. All right, for Mr. Daley, I am Josh Lopez. Thank you guys for checking out the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down here on the YouTube channel, and hope you guys enjoyed the show. We had a blast doing this for you, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.